So going on from that, I guess when you guys were together, one of the pinnacles of it would be in 1988 where you headlined WrestleMania with Randy Savage, and then you guys go on to SummerSlam and do the Mega Powers and the Mega Bucks. I mean, how was that for you guys that you have this act that's really over, you're getting a lot of, people hate you and whatever, and then you get in the main event, you're working with Andre and Hogan and Savage, and you're one of the top acts in the company. So you guys are one of the top acts in the company. Like, you guys managed to build this to the main events of WrestleMania, SummerSlam.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, one of the things that Pat Patterson, who was Vince's right-hand man, one of the things he said was, to me, at the very beginning, he said, Ted, if Vince could be a character in his own show, he would be the $1 Million Man. He said, basically, it'd be like you being his alter ego. And so he said, no, that he's going to push this really hard. And that was it. I mean, the first time that wrestling was on live national television in the United States since the 1950s was an event called the Saturday Night Main Event. And the main event was it was a rematch between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant from WrestleMania III, where Hogan had beaten Andre and became the champ. And, they had not touched since that night. But the story was, I had bragged that I'm going to prove to the world that I can buy anything, including the world title. I've hired Andre. He's going to beat Hogan, and he's going to sell me the championship. And so in that match, we pull a double referee stunt. The one referee David Hebner goes down, and his identical twin, Earl, runs out to the ring, jumps in, counts Hogan's shoulders down when he wasn't, and gives him the title. So they let me carry the belt around for like 2 weeks.
My favourite part of that is when Hogan does the promo after the match, and he said, "What about the plastic surgery?" As if someone had got surgery to look like Errol Hebner.
Right. And and so for about 2 weeks, wherever I went, I was introduced as the champion. And of course, then they go, well, you can't have the championship because you didn't really win it. And technically, they couldn't give it back to Hulk because technically he lost it. Andre wouldn't take it because he'd been paid off by me. So what do? You have a tournament to declare a new champion, and that was WrestleMania IV.
And, I mean, what was WrestleMania IV like for you guys? Because you guys have been working so hard. You're working 300 days a year, and you get to be in the main event of WrestleMania.
That's pretty unbelievable. I mean, it was surreal because when WrestleMania III took place, I was working in two different places. I had a really good deal in Japan, and I was still working for what was then called Mid-South Wrestling, which was promoted by Bill Watts. I remember picking the paper up the day after WrestleMania III and seeing the headline, WrestleMania sets indoor attendance world record. And as soon as I saw that, I knew if I'm going to stay relative in the wrestling business, then I have to be there. And I was getting ready to make a trip to Japan, and Bruce Pritchard, who you all know as Brother Love, was going to New York to interview for a job. And Bruce and I were friends. And I said, I was up there once before. They know me. And I said, throw my name out and see if anybody's interested. So I get a call in Japan from Bruce. And he said, Ted, they're not just a little interested, they're real interested. He said, here's what's happened. While you're in Japan, Bill Watts has sold Mid-South Wrestling to Jim Crockett, who was the owner of the wrestling promotion out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And so when I went back to Mid-South, it was under new management. But that's how it all started. So think about that. I'm not even a part of the WWF at WrestleMania III. I'm not on the scene. But the next month, I have the interview, and by June, I'm now wrestling for the WWF as this character, the $1 Million Man. And the first night that wrestling is on live network television in the United States since the 50s, I'm an integral part of the main event. It's pretty surreal. I mean, you talk about things happening fast. And then to, basically main event WrestleMania IV. I never in my wildest dream, on that day when I said, I need to be there, I had no idea that a year later I would be headlining the main event. So it was pretty fast.